Hello everybody and welcome. I am GameOverJesse. Here with me is...
I'm Daniel. You may know me as Cap Bergerson.
And I am Rick, otherwise known as RMFH.
And today we will be discussing the Nintendo Direct, or Pokemon Direct rather, that had some very peculiar thing with the main Pokemon that are featured for the artwork on the Isle of Armor and the Crown of Tundra, because there are a lot of Zelda influence going on here. Obviously, on the Crown of Tundra, we have the Pokemon known as Calyrex. Don't know how to pronounce the name just yet, but there is an upside down Triforce going all around the neck, which gives a lot of representation for obviously the Triforce and Hylia made from the Triforce, because there's a lot more going on with time manipulation or whatever with this Pokemon. And then if we look at the other Pokemon, Urshifu? I don't know how to pronounce that either. I'm sorry, guys. But on its chest, or a little bit below its chest, this big, masculine, strong Pokemon has what looks like the outline of the Goron Ruby, which is very interesting. And in the middle of this video, where we see the Crown Tundra Pokemon for the first time, or one of the first times, we see in the background what looks like or resembles Snow Peak Mountains, the ice dungeon from Twilight Princess. Now, let's go a little bit more into these Pokemon, starting with Calyrex. Do you have the page open on your screen, Daniel?
Yeah.
All right.
I've got Calyrex.
You were the one that mentioned the time stuff with Calyrex earlier, or was that Rick?
I thought that was you.
I did it during the intro.
Okay.
But then was it you, Rick, that mentioned the time stuff?
Yeah, it was me.
All right.
I was reading the
Right.
description.
All right, well, go ahead, Rick, and you read it, since you were the one that did it. And then Daniel can read some of the info from the next one.
Okay. So this is on the official Pokemon Sword and Shield website. Down below the Pokemon's picture, it reads, "A noble leader. This Pokemon ruled all of Galar in ancient times. Though it appears delicate and slight, its every move is filled with grace and dignity. It also has an extremely high intelligence and is said to see every past, present, and future event," which kind of aligns with the goddess of time, who is thought to be Hylia.
In The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Fi or Fi, however you may pronounce her name, she tells you that Hylia is sending you messages from the edge of time, whether that's like the beginning edge of time, like the edge before it existed, or the end of time to where it is about to cease to exist. Whichever point of time it is, she is sending you messages from that point. And it's also mentioned that like the goddess of time is mentioned several times. I think the first time's in Majora's Mask, when Princess Zelda is sending Link off on his journey. She says, I'll be praying for the goddess of time to watch over you. And then in Majora's Mask, there's a lot of mention about the goddess of time. But she first mentions that in the Temple of Time. And then in the Temple of Time, you play the Song of Time to open the Gate of Time. And it's really interesting because all of this stuff is like mentioned, like time. The Gate of Time, the Song of Time, the Ocarina of Time, the Temple of Time, all of this. And then in Skyward Sword, you find out that the Temple of Time used to be called the Temple of Hylia, which at this point in time, instead of the Door of Time, holds the Gate of Time. So again, you have all of this time stuff where and it's all like inside or related to the goddess of time. And the temple of Hylia ends up becoming the temple of time. So everything kind of points towards goddess being, or Hylia being the goddess of time, since all of these clues pointing towards her, but then she's also sitting at the edge of time, sending you message from throughout time. So like whether she's at the beginning of time, before its existence, or at the end of time, when time is about to cease to exist, whichever point she is at, she is sending you a message from the edge of time, whatever that may be or be interpreted as. And so with everything and all of Phi's hints, it's pointed towards goddess, or Hylia being the goddess of time. And then you also have her being represented by the Triforce, because all three goddesses came together to create the Triforce. And all three goddesses came together to create Hylia. That we know of, this is the only two things that all three goddesses came together to create, because each one is responsible for different things. Like one created the world and Hyrule, one created the law, one created the land and everything and all of that. But together, they are only known to have come together to create two things, which is the Triforce and Hylia, who is the representation or the guard or whatever of the Triforce, and who Hyrule and Lake Hylia and all of these places were named after, and she's the one that everyone worships and stuff. And with this Pokemon having all of these references and officially being spoken about having these powers or having some sort of representation with time, and having this Triforce, like several different Triforces going all the way around her neck, almost like her wearing a necklace. And again, the Triforce being a representation of Hylia. But in this case, it's upside down, matching the one on the ''𝐲𝐻𝐼 and the one from Lowrule as well.
Kinda.
And even
like there's
one in the middle.
There's one, like there's an upside down Triforce, but then in the middle part of that, it's an upright Triforce as well. So it's like a little Triforce within the Triforce, within the upside down one. If you look more
the middle
closely at it.
Triforce.
Yeah, so there's the blue one that's upside down.
Triforce, and then the white silver one inside it is a correct Triforce.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's very interesting. And the green teal color is also sort of the color of Phi, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Phi's like blue and
bluish purple, but she does have that teal color as well.
Does she?
If there was only some way that we could check, some magical
We can't.
Google, Sugle, Toogle.
Mogul.
Let's check. Phi. I know she's purple, but there's like the blue color as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she does have that on her legs. Yeah.
Well, the image that I'm looking at is like one side purple, one side blue.
Yeah, but not. There's no. It's not quite tealy. It's a very watery blue.
All right. Well, my colors were off, but like there's still like the whole connection of this Pokemon having all of this time stuff, which before was only Celebi, and then one of the 4th generation Pokemon, because one like Dialga or something.
Right.
There was one that controlled gravity, one that controlled time and stuff. But it's just very interesting that there's all these references with this one to the goddess of time, with the upside down Triforce, and then the Triforce in the middle, which you mentioned, which came from Obviously, there's Logrel's popular for having the official upside down Triforce, but I think the first one that we seen was on Majora's Mask Stone Tower Temple.
Right.
And then, those were removed in the 3D.
In the 3DS, yeah. But
And
in
then
the OG,
they had the upside down Triforce on the pillars that were on your way. So the pillars that were on your way to the Stone Tower Temple, leading you there from Castletown, also had the upside down Triforce, and it was found throughout the temple as well, with like the weird tongue coming out and like licking the Triforce, which was really weird.
Weird designs,
Yeah.
actually.
And then they removed them from Majora's Mask 3D, probably because they didn't want people thinking it had anything to do with lore, or they had an idea for like lore and stuff on like where it would go in the future, but then they changed the idea and went in a different direction, so that lore no longer made sense for it to have the upside down Triforce, since now they have it in A Link Between Worlds. So anyways, but Daniel or Rick, was there more stuff that you wanted to talk about with Calyrex?
Well, a couple interesting things to note about the Pokemon is the category for it is a king Pokemon. So if we're going to relate it to Zelda, King of Hyrule, having the Triforce around its neck like that, also where these games are based off of also makes sense for this Pokemon and it being a king Pokemon. And it also states in its description that in ancient times it ruled all of Galar. So that could be a connection there too. One other thing I wanted to point out is that the Triforce symbol over in Japan is well known for the Hojo clan. And that's where it originated from like the Zelda thing. They got it from that. So it could be that as well. They're just trying to throw their little, touch
What is the
onto this
Hojo
Pokemon.
clan? Would you can you explain that? Do you have it up?
I have it up. I can't really explain it to a T because I'm not very versed in Japanese history. But the Hojo clan, it was a family who controlled the hereditary title of Shiken, regent of something, between 1203 and 1333.
Okay.
So they were a powerful family in Japan way back when, and the symbol still lives on there. You guys can anybody listening can easily look up Hojo clan and it will pop right up.
Yeah. Google that.
If you want to learn more about them, because the white and the blue also is part of their family symbol.
All right.
I think.
So it could have been a reference to that. But I think it's just odd that they showed it with all the Triforce stuff, and then it just looked very, very similar to that Zelda dungeon to me. But that's just me. The Snow Peak ruins.
I feel
but
like
obviously
that's a bit more
not
of a
in
stretch,
ruins.
but
Yeah, because any icy mountain with a mansion on it, to me, I instantly just think, oh, cool. But having the two together, that just might be where you end up finding it in the game. But, yeah, as Daniel said, it could be a stretch. But to me, I'm thinking oh, it could be a reference, because I'm always hopeful for Zelda stuff. But is there anything else that you would like to find on there that you thought was interesting, Rick? Or
Nope.
Daniel can move on to Urshifu?
Yeah.
Urshifu.
I feel like most likely, if there is a reference or whatever, it's probably at most a reference.
With this
probably
one?
coincidence.
Sorry, can you say that
really,
again?
but-
You cut out. I'm sorry.
I say most, it's probably a reference. At least it's most likely, in my opinion, probably coincidence.
For both of them, or just this one?
For both, I feel like. But
because this one
you know,
has the symbol, but it's also like in a fighting position, and the Gorons in Twilight Princess are known for like their test of strength and their type of fighting, which is the. It's weird. Their type of fighting is the sumo wrestling, but when you actually fight against them, they just punch you.
They
like,
just
they don't push you off the mountain. They just roll at you.
I think the sumo thing is in Twilight Princess is more like a sport type thing, right?
Yeah. A respectable
because they have like the arena. Yeah, exactly, and they have the arena and everything like that. Whereas when you come in and they see you as an actual threat, they're just gonna punch you in the face. Goron style. But yeah, Urshifu, he's a fighting type Pokemon. Depending on the way you evolve Kubfu into Urshifu, it can evolve to either fighting and dark type or fighting and water type, which I think is a weird set of options, because they don't really reflect each other. Like if it was like fire and water, or dark and I don't know, fairy type or something like that like seem like opposites, that I don't know, would seem more thematic. But I digress. I guess it's what it is. I'm not a game designer, but yes, as Jesse pointed out, sorry,
I said we didn't need any more dark types.
Yeah, there's that too.
There's too many of them.
There's plenty enough.
Oh, does it show shiny forms of any?
I don't think so. We saw Galar Slowpoke, but they teased Slowbro, but we didn't actually get to see it. But yeah, I don't know. He's got what looks like the Goron crest. It could also like the Goron crest kind of looks like that sort of triangle design, but it also could just be coincidence because it does fit his overall aesthetic. If you look at him, like it's on his chest at the very end of the direct. I think Jesse's got it paused on it. He's got this white mark on it. And
I'm over. Oh, I see it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the rest of his design also has all of this like flaring sort of points that go off into the sides and upwards and stuff. So, like, most likely it's just a part of the design that wasn't meant to reflect it, or not meant to reference it at all. It could just be coincidence. At most, it would be like just an Easter egg, like a wink and a nudge, but not.
That's sort of thing most of these were. But I like whenever I seen them, I thought it was just like a wink and a nudge, and just like a Zelda fan working on it, and then
maybe,
but then like all of it together, and then like my brain just clicking.
I feel like the Snow Peak one is a stretch personally, but
this one would make more sense if the triangles were separated towards the top of it.
True. Yeah.
But what was it that you said, Daniel? The Zelda, what was the stretch?
The Snow Peak Mansion thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, it's just most likely coincidence that it's like similar design. I don't know.
My heart. How dare you?
But I'm sorry.
No, this is a good thing, because like, so the way you were saying that and stuff, a lot of people on video, probably not in person, because a lot of people are like afraid of stuff like that, but what I love is like the friendship and stuff that we all have towards, like, you know, you can joke around and not agree with someone and just like make a quick joke or a pun or whatever, and just like get a quick laugh at someone, and it'll be like, you know, it's just part of the joke, making fun of someone, but it's all in like a friendly way. But in this case, where like you had a complete disagreement with me, where a lot of people would like just start being like, you know, thumping their fist on the table and be like, no, it is a reference to the Stone Tower Temple. Link is dead in Majora's Mask. Like, they get so defensive about it. Like they're not open to the idea of, yeah, you're right. It's probably just like like one of these three things, like the Goron ruby on the chest, the Triforce symbols around the neck, the Snow Peak Mountain thing, like one of them might be a reference, especially with the Pokemon being a time-based Pokemon and having the symbol of Hylia. Like, that is the closest thing that possibly could be a reference.
Right.
Because the other thing on the chest, almost like you could say that's just like an arrowhead as well.
Yeah. It just looks like fur to me, but
yeah.
I don't know.
But like, you know, there's a lot of people that would just like get upset and be like, no, you're right, I'm wrong, blah blah blah, and spend an hour trying to argue about it. But like, the cool thing that I like about all of us is like, we all get along, and it's like, I'm saying to me, you know, that almost looks like it could be a reference, and you're like, no, I think like at most it could be a nod, if that, probably nothing at all. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, you're probably right.
But honestly, with Urshifu, what it reminds me of more, so especially with his Gigantamax things that showed like the red and blue.
Is the goat that Link wrangles up Tingle?
No, this guy is Incineroar. Just the way his design is, it just the way the fur flares out and stuff.
I was gonna buy one of those, and they're both fighting
somewhat
type
similar
too. So it's like a dark
exactly.
fighting type, or what is it?
Yeah, well, his Gigantamax for when he's fighting in dark type has like the red lines and stuff on him, and it's, I don't know, it just reminded me of
He's
that.
a fighting dark and a fighting
it's probably
water.
just a coincidence because they have the same designers.
How's he a fighting water?
So that's what Urshifu can evolve into.
So
Evolves,
maybe he's supposed to be like this generation's opposite of Incineroar, because he's fighting water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I've been up for so long. You have no idea.
Jesse needs to sleep. Someone help him.
I gotta send a script to Ilya later to record audio for, so she can send it to you to edit, and that would be your first official video editing back on the channel.
Woo!
Top 5 Zelda theories.
First 2020 video.
Yeah.
Dope. That's exciting.
But is there anything else to finish this up?
That's all I've got. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts here, but
all right.
Not for this one, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the separation of the triangles, it possibly could be a reference to the Gorons, with them, like you were saying, the sumo thing earlier, with the symbol. But I would think it would, if it was separated, then I'd be like, yeah, for sure. But
all right.
Yeah.
Because with me, like the one Pokemon, with it being like the king or whatever, and then having the Triforce symbol, and then having to do with the time, like, to me that seemed like it would be the most. But everyone in the comments, let us know. This I think this would actually be like a cool debate for people in the comments. As long as you're nice, don't be rude to people.
Yes,
please.
Don't be mean.
Like, there's the top 5 worst Zelda theory video that I made. There's a lot of rude comments in it to me, which I don't care about. Like, for every one negative comment I get, there's like hundreds of positive comments. So, like, that's what I pay attention to more, is like the people that message me on Twitter and stuff, or Facebook, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, blah blah blah. And then I always have to include, like, hey, it's not me, you should check out Captain Bergerson and 𝐓𝐿𝐼 and all these other people and stuff too. So like, there's all these cool people that do that. So be positive in the comments, even the live chat, which there's probably not too many of you now because we've been ranting for a while. But there's a lot of you at the start, so thank you for that. And thank you for everyone that's still watching. Rick, why don't you go ahead and let people know who you are, why that RMFH thing has been there for like an hour. And again, people in the chat, please debate nicely about what's going on and everything. And yeah, so Rick, tell us about who you are, what we can expect, what your favorite flavor of milkshake is. You know, the usual stuff.
Milkshake is chocolate, of course. It has to be. And my name is Rick, otherwise known as RMFH. You guys see my logo there, like Jesse said, for the past couple hours, probably. Well, everybody here on the stream. I am a fellow Zelda content creator, and I mainly stuff related to Breath of the Wild. Moving forward, we're going to dip into some other stuff, but yeah, you guys can find me over at RMFH Gaming on YouTube and on Twitter, or just simply RMFH.
Okay, I was gonna say Daniel, but Rick, what is top 3 videos on your channel that you would love people to check out the most?
Top 3 videos. As of right now, one of my favorite one that I want you guys to go check out right now, it would probably be the Spirit of the Hero. I put a lot of work into that theory. After that would be the Kilton's Dark Secret. Go check that one out. And if you're really bored, go check out my Fantastic Armor and Where to Find It video, if you want to collect all the armor in Breath of the Wild.
All right.
Or if you just want to listen to me rant on for 20 or 30 minutes.
They're all good videos. I've watched all 3 of those, so
Thank you.
they're all good.
All right, and Daniel, where can people find more stuff with you?
Yeah, so I'm Captain Bergerson, and that goes for Twitch and Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, all across the board.
Did you guys? I'm sorry. Did you guys see? I was trying to log into my Twitter. I got my password wrong like 10 times.
Oh, what did you do?
And
did you
then,
lock your Twitter?
No. I finally got into it, but then I realized, oh my gosh, can everyone see what I was typing on camera?
Nope.
But no, like they can't, so it's all good.
You're good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was just like...
No, you're fine, yeah. But yeah, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Wednesday, and I usually do another additional like late night stream during the week, usually either Mondays or Fridays as well. Unless we're doing the podcast here on this channel, which I'm not going to do the late night stream on that day because I can't do 2 things at once. And yeah, so come tune into those. I guess if I had to recommend 3 videos, like Jesse's saying to do, my channel, I mean, they've got a whole playlist of good videos that I've actually put effort into. I guess I just uploaded one about Shovel Knight and about King of Cards the other day. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Otherwise, my sort of debunking videos, so the geography video and the problem with the literal legend timeline video, I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. They're kind of debunking dumb theories sort of videos. There's another one of that line of things that I'm going to do soon. So
I bring up your that theory. No, it's not a theory. I bring up that video and the top 5 worst theory videos. I mention it and you as the reference. So I hope that drives more people to your channel to
I hope so.
see stuff.
That'd be nice.
And, yeah, the Twitter accounts for everyone is in the chat. So if everyone can Danielle, that's the only one I see right now. Danielle, Jorge,
Cliff.
Yeah. So everyone, please go follow Daniel and Rick and me.
And Jesse. Follow Jesse.
Yeah.
Vote for Jesse.
Did you get your 3 videos?
Yeah, that was it. I guess that was my newest one on King of Cards, and then my geography video on why you shouldn't make your Zelda theories based on geography, and my literal legend video.
Was it a video you made a long time ago? The geography video?
Yeah, that was not too long ago. Maybe it was a couple months back now, actually.
Did it include the interview where they said that they switched the places?
Yeah, that's like the first thing I bring up.
Because everyone was debating. Tell Rick about it really quick, because it's really funny. Like everyone was debating that, like
the switch between Kakariko Village and Korok Forest, and everybody was debating that the Great Plateau and Korok Forest had flipped, but it was actually Kakariko Village.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That actually, no, that I didn't bring up in the video. This one actually focused more on how other people compare maps between games, basically, and try and make theories about it. About, like, there was an earthquake, or the ground shook, or whatever, tectonic plates and stuff. And I'm like, no, literally, the game designers just said, like, they don't want it to be boring. Yeah. So they make things a little bit different. and then I go ahead and try and compare all the maps just to prove my point, and none of them line up naturally. So it's it's a fun, that one's a little more just for kicks, and it's a little bit more played for laughs than the literal legend one, which is just straight up like, this is why this theory makes no sense and is bad. So yeah, they're both good videos that I'm proud of, I guess. So
speaking of the Kakariko Village and Korok Forest thing, I'm actually working on something right now to kind of flip-flop the two, so we'll see if it works.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little jank, but
I want to do
work a little bit.
That's fine.
I have a few videos, like an April Fool's idea video that I want to do, to where, like, making fun of the worst theories, like to where, like, you know, that every link is related or every link is the same link, to where it's like every Epona is related. Or
oh no. I've already had an April Fool's video planned as well, actually.
I had an idea since I started YouTube. I wanted to do a video to where it's like 80% of it would be completely fact, like an actual documentary about, like, Aonuma or someone, or Miyamoto, probably Miyamoto because he's more famous. But like, it would start out like 100% fact, talking about his life and everything, like you would see from, like, Did You Know Gaming on their history stuff, or Gaming Historian and people like that.
Right.
To where, like, it's a very well made, documented, 100% accurate for like the first 5 minutes, and then like it slowly starts adding in, like, just random things that you're like, oh well, that's kind of odd, but then you're like, it was like 50 years ago or 20 years ago,
right?
So it's like, you know, people used to be odd back then, like,
no one is odd anymore though.
Yeah, like if you go back to the 70s or the 80s and you walked into like a Walmart or something, I don't know if Walmart was back then, but like if you walked into your local grocery store, like 90% of the people that you met were probably like on some lucid LSD or cocaine or something like that, because that was like the normal thing back then.
Sure.
As normal as like vaping is now, like that's what the thing was back in like the 70s and 80s and stuff, when like the hippie movement was like at its biggest. So it's like, instead of that, like when you hear about like, oh, a famous person like 30 years ago in the 80s used to have like a drug addiction or whatever, it's like, yeah, like who didn't have a drug addiction in the 80s that was a millionaire?
Right.
But something like that, but instead of it being bad, like about drugs or something, just like have it be like really weird. And then just like whatever the tidbits or whatever are that I think of, or that other people think of and help me out with it, the end conclusion is that Miyamoto is a vampire.
Right. Makes sense.
But it never comes out and says he is a vampire or anything. Like it never even mentions the word vampire or sucks blood or anything like that. It just gives like clues and hints and stuff. But like by the end of it, like you're like, that was really weird. Why? What? But like 90% of it is true. Like it talks about stuff that's like actually true. So you're just like,
the running joke is that he could be a vampire for the Zelda team. Sucking their creativity right out of them.
I was like, that's why they had to recently hire all the new people.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because I know that's like the running joke, is that he's, you know, kind of past his prime.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that there. The
he's
creative
more of a roadblock for them than anything else.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Because like a lot of the new
Skyward
people.
Sword, I think, was a huge example of that. Like where he went and changed a bunch of stuff.
Well, he always
which
did
one?
that.
Well, yeah, but just stuff that 𝐴𝐽𝐼, I think, wanted certain ways, and he was just like, no, we're gonna do it like this.
Yeah, they
Can't
had to fight to the death, which is why he's a vampire. Because like 𝐴𝐽𝐼 fought to the death with Miyamoto. 𝐴𝐽𝐼, being the younger man, killed Miyamoto, but you can't kill a vampire. So like,
Oh no.
but he gained enough respect from Miyamoto that he was allowed to make A Link Between Worlds. Because, like, actually, we should make a video about that.
Okay.
About Miyamoto. Because, like, Miyamoto didn't want 𝐴𝐽𝐼 making Majora's Mask. He wanted to move on to the GameCube and not necessarily make Wind Waker, but I guess whatever that tech demo would have ended up being. Because the whole reason they went with the cartoon style was because they were tired of the Ocarina of Time art style.
Right.
And they wouldn't have been tired of the Ocarina of Time art style if they wouldn't have made Majora's Mask.
I guess.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, we
reading
can-
something in the back of Arts and Artifacts last night. The reason they did that, the tech demo, like, made them, well, at least for the art guys, it made them realize that that wasn't the direction they wanted to go from their little excerpt that they had put in there.
Makes sense.
And then
Yeah.
It
with-
looks kind of weird.
Too much
that
realism
demo.
at the time, I guess, is what they thought.
yeah.
There was too much realism being put out there. So then they were like, okay, let's do the cartoony thing. And then it flipped script when Wind Waker came out. Everybody got this.
And then, so like he didn't want to do Majora's Mask, and he had the thing with 𝐴𝐽𝐼 to where he was like, sure, if you can do it in a year, you can do it, whatever. But then we have to do the GameCube thing. And then they ended up rushing that to get Wind Waker out. And then they had 𝐴𝐽𝐼 wanted to make a brand new game on the 3DS, like a brand new Zelda game, and Miyamoto wanted to make a remake of A Link to the Past, and they ended up compromising to where it was like, I call it a reimagining instead of a remake.
Right.
But
For
like
Link Between Worlds, yeah.
yeah. What I don't even know what do you like, to you, what do you call it? Like, do you look at it as more of a sequel, a remake, a reimagining, like, obviously
I
it's
see
a
it as a
sequel.
sequel,
It began
but
as a remake,
I mean,
it
it's
turned into a
officially a
sequel.
sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
But how do you view it? How do you look at it?
I would say it's enough. There's enough that's different in it to call it a sequel. Because I think if they had left as many things unchanged as they had, that it would be more of a reimagining. But the whole wall merging mechanic and the dungeons are pretty different. There's there's some dungeons that, even though they kind of repeat, like the Palace of, or the Eastern Palace and the Tower of Hera, and the
I think those were on purpose, though.
Yeah, and those are all like familiar dungeons we've seen before, but even though they're like the same dungeon again, even their interiors are completely different. So I feel like enough is different that like I'm okay just calling it a sequel.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the best of both, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really.
Can you think of any other roadblocks that Miyamoto wanted? Like, was it... So, Miyamoto, he kind of took a back step after Ocarina and let 𝐴𝐽𝐼 be in charge. But there was a big interview, which I actually bring up in one of my latest videos, where Miyamoto came back to be the director, or like behind the scenes, of Skyward Sword, specifically because it was the 25th anniversary, and he wanted to make he wanted to be a part of it because it was the 25th anniversary. So I wonder if I wonder if he was the one that was like, no Hyrule Field, or
I don't know.
I don't know who that was, but yeah, there was a term that they coined called upending the tea table, where they talk about it a lot in the Iwata Asked, where Miyamoto would come into a room and he would be like, "Hey, do you think we could do this, like, in, for example, Twilight Princess? Do you think we could put Ordon Village from the top right corner of the map to the very bottom of the map? That way Hyrule sits above Ordon Village." And then the developer would be like, "Well, we could, but that would mess up this whole side quest here. And the way we have everything laid out, we would have to go and fix stuff in Zora's Domain and all this stuff." And then Miyamoto would be like, "Okay, that's fine." And then he would go back. And then a week later, he would come back with the same thing and be like, "Hey, do you remember when I asked you if we could just do this? Could we just go ahead and do that?"
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point to where all of the developers, instead of just saying no, were being like, "That'll take too much time. That'll make us, like, that'll get the game delayed." It got to a point to where they would all just say yes, because they knew if they said no, he would keep asking until they did say yes. And with him being the boss, he could make them do it anyways. So they all just ended up saying yes, even though it would cause delays. But in the end, I think it worked out for the best, because all the games are really good.
Right.
So.
Most definitely. I know there was like we were saying, the big thing with Skyward Sword because of the significance of the release and everything. But now, way less than ever before, he's taken a huge backseat, and then now even Aonuma is kind of like, like, I'm here, but
he's making those Lobo games.
The
Labo, yeah. Lobo's from DC. He's like
different, very different.
He's the Deadpool alien bounty hunter from DC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining. I didn't mean to take up too much of your time, Daniel. When I said join, I thought we were going to be like 15 minutes, but it ended up being a couple hours. Did you have
like
anything to do today? Are you doing a live stream of your own?
No, I'm not going to stream today, but I might do. There's a couple things I might do. I might work out. I might crank out a video just talking about the direct real quick, just some like rando thoughts or whatever. But
cool. You should.
Nothing.
In your
crazy.
video, would you kindly mention that we went into discussion on this thing?
Oh, I will. All right.
I'll probably edit this up and like put it out in segments too, since it went on for hours.
For sure.
But I really appreciate you guys. Like, I was super excited when they announced this, because it was so much stuff. Like, I remember at E3 walking around, we were like, I forgot who I was talking to, because we talked to so many different people, but I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they did DLC for for Pokemon, like actual DLC, to where it's not just like, here's new gems or whatever, like whatever DLC. Like, if they're just like, here's an entirely new area for you to explore. I thought it would be like Kanto or something, which I think more people would actually end up buying if they included Kanto, because they already have it made. Like, it's literally already made in the same engine. They could just port it over, and it wouldn't like it would. They like.
I think we talked about that, but I'm like good without going back to Kanto again.
Yeah, new areas are better.
Yeah. So.
But anyways, we already talked about how, like, we said our goodbyes. Like, you talked about your 3 favorite things people can check out on your channel. Rick said 3 things he could check out on his. So go ahead and say your farewells. Start with you, Rick.
Bye, everybody. It was nice talking today.
Yeah. Daniel.
Okay.
Goodbye, I'll miss you. Yeah.
ASMR, Daniel.
Thank you, Cliff, and the gamer musician, which I think is one of Rick's peeps.
Mm-hmm.
Did we meet him at the first E3? Was he the one that showed up?
Mm-mm. No, that was Jared.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, gamer musician. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Tonto. Thank you, Geek Apprentice. That's all the people that I can see scrolling up for a while. So thank you, everyone. We love you all. Your support is amazing. Even though there's 7 of you watching us for no reason.
Yep.
Get a life.
No.
Please don't. We'll have nobody to watch.
Yeah. No, but seriously, comment. Let me know if you like this idea better of stuff being in the background. Or if you just like the blue and black thing that's like this over here.
Your foamy pads?
Yeah. And if
that's
someone...
so much better than what I have. I have a couch cushion behind me here for... it's not... It's very janky.
If anyone can let me know how to work... this is my phone charger that I just set my phone on. And I can figure that out.
Put your phone in the microwave, it'll charge.
But like I don't know how to know how to do this. Like where do you even put the games?
He's
like,
got to put
there's no where do you there's no
help him, guys.
There's no buttons to open, like on like a PlayStation when you press the button and like the tray comes out and you put the game in.
Yeah.
Or like an Xbox.
Yeah. You just have to pray to the machine that it will play the right game. But usually it chooses the game for you. And just plays it on its own.
Like, what you need to do, Jesse? You need to get a PS2 game. Like, you need to take a pair of scissors and cut it to fit inside of the GameCube.
Like, I've been working.
Stop! You're gonna break it!
No!
Stop! GameCube!
Like, I've been...
It doesn't deserve this!
I'm shielding my GameCube's eyes. This is horrible.
I've been trying to fix it, but, like...
GameCube abuse.
This all hurt.
Well, this is just stuff built in the 90s just aren't that great.
Wow. Rude. I'm leaving now.
I can see why Xbox, like with the...
Mm-hmm.
I can see why Sega folded after the GameCube, because like after they released that
Sega's final console.
Yeah, like you can't even open it.
The GameCube.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everybody.
All right, I love you guys. Thank you, Rick, for joining. Thank you, Daniel, for joining. You guys are truly wonderful friends, and I thank you for your friendship.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom now. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Hey everyone, it's me again, 𝐅𝐼𝐼𝐼. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.